Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The story unfolds under the shimmering neon glow of Las Vegas, where anticipation hums in the air like a quiet storm waiting to break. Chelsea Lawson arrives with determination etched into every step, her heart racing with a mix of urgency and emotion as she follows through on a decision that could change everything. She makes her way through the bustling corridors of Adam Newman's hotel, the distant echo of slot machines and laughter contrasting sharply with the tension building inside her. And then, in a moment that feels almost cinematic in its timing, she appears before him, unexpected, unannounced, and impossible to ignore. Adam is caught completely off guard, his composure faltering for just a second as shock flickers across his face. Beside him stands Riza Thompson, equally stunned, now face to face with the woman who holds Adam's heart in a way no one else ever could. The air thickens with unspoken truths as Chelsea's presence changes the entire dynamic in an instant. Riza, aware that Adam's recent attempts to rekindle something between them were nothing more than a calculated move to extract information about Matt Clark, begins to see the reality of where she stands. Every lingering glance and every carefully orchestrated moment suddenly feels hollow in comparison to the undeniable connection between Adam and Chelsea. Adam's love for Chelsea is no longer something that can be hidden behind strategy or deception. It's raw, real, and unmistakable. And yet, despite knowing this, Chelsea can't help but feel a flicker of territorial instinct rising within her, a quiet but firm need to assert her place in Adam's life. The tension between the two women simmers just beneath the surface, creating an undercurrent of unease that threatens to erupt at any moment. But the emotional stakes rise even higher when Chelsea learns the full extent of the danger surrounding them. Adam, desperate to keep her safe, tries to push her away from the chaos that Matt Clark has unleashed, his voice laced with concern as he urges her not to get involved. Yet Chelsea refuses to back down, her resolve hardening the moment she hears that Nick Newman is missing, and worse, that he may already be in grave danger. The fear in her eyes transforms into determination, and she makes it clear that she's not leaving, not now, not when the people she loves are at risk. The tension between her and Adam shifts into something deeper, a shared understanding that what lies ahead will test them in ways neither of them can fully predict. Meanwhile, in a darker corner of this unfolding story, Nick Newman finds himself trapped in a nightmare that grows more terrifying with each passing moment. Matt Clark's vengeance is not just calculated, it's cruel, methodical, and deeply personal. With chilling intent, Matt reveals his plan to exploit Nick's addiction, pushing him further and further into a downward spiral until there's nothing left of the man he once was. It's not just about revenge, it's about destruction, about ensuring Nick becomes incapable of protecting the people he loves. As the threat becomes reality, Nick is forced to endure the full weight of Matt's twisted scheme, his strength tested in ways that feel almost unbearable. Each moment stretches into the next, heavy with dread as the situation spirals towards something even more alarming. Back in Genoa City, the atmosphere carries a different kind of tension, one rooted in emotional wounds and fractured relationships. Sharon Newman reconnects with Christine Blair Romalotti, their conversation inevitably turning to Mariah Copeland and her ongoing struggle. There's a quiet hope in Sharon's voice as she speaks of Mariah settling into her mental health treatment facility, a fragile belief that maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of healing. But hope is complicated, especially when it collides with the harsh realities of the past. That complexity becomes painfully clear during Sharon's uneasy interaction with Abby Winters, where every word feels weighed down by unresolved conflict and lingering resentment. Determined to mend what has been broken, Sharon takes it upon herself to try and repair the strained bond between Mariah and Devon Winters. It's not an easy task, and deep down she knows it may be impossible. Devon's stance is unwavering, his conviction rooted in pain and betrayal, as he insists that Mariah should face the consequences of her actions in prison. The divide between them feels vast, almost unbridgeable, yet Sharon refuses to give up without a fight. She defends Mariah with everything she has, her voice carrying both strength and vulnerability as she pleads for understanding. It's a battle fought not with fists, but with emotion, memory, and the desperate hope that forgiveness might still be within reach. As these stories intertwine across the bright chaos of Las Vegas and the emotional battleground of Genoa City, the tension continues to build, each moment drawing the characters closer to a breaking point. Love, loyalty, betrayal, and redemption collide in ways that leave no one untouched. And as the storm intensifies, one thing becomes certain: nothing will ever be the same once it finally passes. In the charged silence that follows, the weight of everything unfolding begins to settle like a storm, refusing to pass. In Las Vegas, the air feels heavier now for Chelsea and Adam, as if every word spoken has carved deeper lines into an already fragile situation. Chelsea stands her ground despite Adam's protective instincts pushing against her involvement, and that stubborn resolve only makes the emotional distance between them feel more complicated and intense. Adam is torn between love and fear, wanting to shield her from Matt Clark's dangerous web, while knowing she will never simply walk away when someone she cares about is in danger. Riza's presence only sharpens that tension further, turning every glance and silence into something loaded with meaning, as if no one is entirely sure where they stand anymore. Yet beneath all the conflict, there remains an undeniable truth neither of them can escape, that whatever chaos surrounds them, their connection still pulls them back toward each other in the middle of it all. Far away from the neon lights and crowded hallways, Nick Newman's ordeal continues to spiral into a suffocating nightmare shaped by Matt Clark's relentless cruelty. The situation grows darker as Matt's calculated revenge presses down harder, feeding on Nick's vulnerabilities and pushing him deeper into a state of helplessness. Every moment feels like a battle, not just for strength, but for identity, as Nick struggles against forces designed to strip him of control and clarity. Matt's twisted satisfaction comes from the slow unraveling, the deliberate way he tries to ensure there is nothing left of the man Nick once was. It becomes a war of endurance, where survival itself feels like resistance against something designed to break him completely. And yet, even in that darkness, there is a lingering fight inside Nick, a refusal to disappear quietly into the destruction being forced upon him. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, the emotional undercurrents grow just as complicated, though in a quieter, more personal way. Sharon's efforts to bridge the widening gap between Mariah and Devon remain fraught with resistance, each attempt met with pain that refuses to easily heal. The conversations she has only deepen the realization that this is not a simple misunderstanding, but a fracture built from hurt, grief, and unwavering belief on both sides. Devon's stance remains firm, shaped by conviction that justice must take its course, while Sharon clings to the possibility that understanding and compassion might still change the outcome. Even as she defends Mariah with unwavering determination, there is a heaviness in her heart that reflects just how uncertain the path forward truly is. And as these separate worlds continue to unfold in parallel, one consumed by danger and vengeance, the other by emotional reckoning, it becomes clear that every character is standing on the edge of something irreversible, with no easy answers waiting on the other side. As the tension continues to escalate across both cities, the sense of inevitability grows stronger, as though every decision being made is quietly steering each character toward a breaking point. In Las Vegas, Chelsea's refusal to step back begins to reshape the situation entirely, transforming what Adam intended as a controlled operation into something far more unpredictable and emotionally charged. Adam's frustration mixes with concern as he realizes that protecting Chelsea may no longer be as simple as keeping her at a distance. Every attempt he makes to shield her from Matt Clark's dangerous influence only seems to pull her deeper into the storm instead. Riza, watching all of this unfold, becomes a silent witness to a love that refuses to be neatly contained or ignored, no matter how complicated the circumstances become. The air between them all is thick with unspoken conflict, as if the next moment could permanently alter their fragile balance. At the same time, Nick Newman remains trapped in a relentless cycle of suffering that feels carefully engineered to break him piece by piece. Matt Clark's vendetta continues to unfold with disturbing precision, each action designed not just to hurt Nick physically, but to dismantle his ability to think, resist, and protect anyone beyond himself. The cruelty lies in the patience of it all, the way Matt seems to understand exactly how to push Nick to the edge without letting him fall completely away too quickly. Nick's struggle becomes both internal and external, a desperate effort to hold on to fragments of himself while everything around him is engineered to strip them away. The danger is no longer just about survival, it is about whether he can remain who he is while enduring something meant to erase him entirely. And with every passing moment, the stakes rise higher, pulling him deeper into a fight that feels increasingly impossible to win. Back in Genoa City, the emotional fallout continues to ripple through every conversation Sharon finds herself in, leaving her caught between loyalty, hope, and painful reality. Her attempt to repair the fractured bond between Mariah and Devon grows even more complicated as both sides remain locked in their positions, unwilling to fully bend toward reconciliation. Sharon's heart aches as she tries to hold space for Mariah's pain while also acknowledging the weight of Devon's grief and anger. The conversation with Abby lingers in her mind as well, adding another layer of discomfort to an already fragile situation. Each interaction feels like walking through emotional terrain filled with cracks, where one wrong step could deepen the divide even further. Still, Sharon refuses to abandon her belief that Mariah deserves a chance at healing rather than condemnation. And so, across these parallel worlds of chaos and conflict, the story presses forward with mounting intensity, each thread tightening toward an unseen collision point. In Las Vegas, love and danger are becoming impossible to separate, forcing Chelsea and Adam into choices that could redefine their future. In Nick's world, survival itself becomes a brutal endurance test against a man determined to destroy him from the inside out. And in Genoa City, broken relationships and emotional wounds demand answers that may not bring peace, only more difficult truths. As everything builds toward what feels like an unavoidable turning point, one thing becomes clear: no one will emerge from these events unchanged, and the consequences of every action are only just beginning to unfold, and the tension tightening around every storyline begins to feel almost suffocating, as if the world itself is holding its breath before something irreversible happens. On Las Vegas, Chelsea's presence continues to disrupt every carefully constructed plan Adam had put in place, forcing emotions to surface that he has been trying desperately to control. What was meant to be a calculated effort against Matt Clark is now tangled in something far more personal, where every decision carries emotional consequences that cannot be easily undone. Adam's instinct to protect Chelsea grows stronger, but so does his realization that she is no longer someone who can simply be kept on the sidelines. Riza's awareness of the truth only deepens the complexity as she begins to understand that she is standing in the shadow of something far more powerful than strategy or deception. The result is a fragile and volatile triangle of emotions where trust, love, and jealousy quietly collide beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Nick Newman's suffering continues in a way that feels deliberately designed to erase his sense of control and identity. Matt Clark's vengeance does not rush. It lingers, calculated and merciless, ensuring every moment weighs heavier than the last. Nick is pushed further into exhaustion and confusion, his strength tested not just physically but emotionally as the boundaries of endurance blur. The true horror of Matt's plan lies in its intention, not just to punish Nick, but to dismantle everything he is, piece by piece, until there is nothing left to fight with. Yet even in the darkest corners of his captivity, there remains a faint resistance, a stubborn will that refuses to disappear completely. That small spark becomes the only thing separating Nick from total surrender, even as the pressure around him continues to intensify without mercy. Back in Genoa City, Sharon's emotional battle grows even heavier as she finds herself caught between opposing truths that refuse to align. Her desire to protect Mariah clashes painfully with Devon's unwavering belief that justice must take its course, leaving Sharon trapped in the middle of a divide that feels increasingly impossible to bridge. Every attempt she makes to soften the situation only highlights how deeply the wounds have already settled in. Conversations with Christine and Abby continue to echo in her mind, reinforcing just how fractured everything has become and how fragile any hope of reconciliation truly is. Yet despite the emotional exhaustion, Sharon refuses to let go of her conviction that Mariah is more than the worst moment of her life. That belief becomes her anchor, even as the world around her grows more uncertain. As these intertwined struggles push forward, the sense of an approaching breaking point becomes undeniable, hanging over every character like a storm that refuses to break but also refuses to move on. In Las Vegas, love and danger are no longer separate forces but entangled realities shaping every decision. In Nick's world, survival becomes a brutal test of endurance against calculated cruelty designed to destroy him from within. And in Genoa City, fractured relationships stand on the edge of either collapse or transformation, with no clear path toward peace. The closer everything moves toward collision, the clearer it becomes that each character is standing at the edge of a turning point that will leave nothing in their lives untouched once it finally arrives.